I was born into a wealthy and well-known family in Tyrone, Ireland. I was the younger of 2 daughters, and we were the only children in the family. My sister was 6 years older than me, so when I was small, we didn't spend much time playing together. I was only 12 years old when she got married. I still remember her wedding day clearly. The house was full of people. Everyone was laughing, singing, and celebrating. The air was full of happiness. But I wasn't happy. I felt a deep sadness when my sister left with her new husband, Mr. Kahar. She had always been kind to me, kinder than my mother ever was. So when she went away to her new home in Dublin, I cried. My parents never truly loved me. They had wanted sons, not daughters, and they showed little interest in me. About a year after my sister's marriage, a letter arrived from Mr. Kahar. In the letter, he said my sister was ill. He wrote that she wanted to return to Tyrone and stay with us, close to her family. I felt sad that she was sick, but at the same time, I was happy she was coming home. They're leaving Dublin on Sunday, my father told me. They'll arrive here on Tuesday evening. Tuesday finally came. It felt like the longest day of my life. Hour after hour passed. I listened constantly, waiting for the sound of my sister and her husband arriving. The sky grew dark. Night came. Then midnight passed. Still, I could not sleep. I listened and waited. Suddenly, at about 1 o'clock in the morning, I heard a sound far away. I jumped out of bed and ran down to the living room. "They're here! They're here!" I called out to my father. We quickly opened the front door and stood outside, trying to see in the darkness. We waited for several minutes. Then we heard the sound again, someone crying somewhere in the night. But there were no lights. No people, no footsteps. We went farther outside, ready to greet them, ready to help my sister with her bags. But no one came. No one was there. I looked at my father. He looked at me. Neither of us understood what was happening. "I know, I heard something," he said quietly. "Yes," I answered. "I heard it too, Father. But where are they?" We went back into the house without saying another word. And suddenly, we were afraid. The next day, a man came to our house with terrible news. He told us that my sister had died. She became very sick on Sunday. On Monday, her condition grew worse. Then on Tuesday, at about 1 o'clock in the morning, the exact moment we were standing outside, waiting for her, she passed away. That night never left my mind. For the next 2 years, I lived in deep sadness. You could say I stopped living altogether. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to do anything. I simply existed. Not long after, Mr. Kahar married another young woman in Dublin. I felt angry and hurt that he seemed to forget my sister so quickly. Now, I was the only child of a rich and important family. Before I even turned 14, men began visiting our home. They came to see me. Some hoped to marry me, but I didn't like any of them. I felt far too young to become someone's wife. When I was 16, my mother took me to Dublin. "Dublin is a great city," she said. "We'll meet richer and more interesting men there than the ones in Tyrone. We'll easily find you a good husband." In Dublin, something inside me changed. I became happier. I met friendly people. I went dancing almost every evening. Many young men asked me to dance, and I enjoyed talking with them. Slowly, I began to laugh again. Slowly, I began to live again. I didn't think about my dead sister every moment anymore. But my mother was not satisfied. She wanted me married and quickly. One night before I went to bed, She came into my room. "Do you know Lord Glenn Fallon?" she asked. "Yes," I replied. "He's that old, ugly man from Kahar Gilla." "He is not ugly," my mother said sharply. "And he is not old. He comes from a very rich and powerful family, just like ours. And he wants to marry you." "Marry me?" I said in shock. "He must be mistaken. I don't love him. I can't marry someone I don't love." "Think carefully, Fanny," my mother said calmly. "He is a good man. You are a very lucky young woman." She left the room, and I sat there in silence for a long time. Lord Glenn Fallon was kind. He was friendly. I didn't love him, but I did like him. He spoke about interesting things, and I always felt better when I was with him. At home, with my parents, I never felt happy. But when I talked to him, I felt calm. The next morning, when I saw my mother, I said only one word. Yes. I married Lord Glenn Fallon the following spring. 2 days after the wedding, we said goodbye to my family and left Tyrone. 3 days later, we arrived at Kahar Gilla. For the first time, I saw my husband's home. It stood near a river, surrounded by trees and flowers. Birds sang in the garden. The sky was bright blue. I stood beside my husband, looking at it all. And for the first time in a long while, I felt truly happy. "Come, my love," my husband said softly. "You must come inside and meet Martha. She cooks, she cleans, and she knows everything about the house." We stepped inside together. That was where I met Martha, a kind, elderly woman with warm blue eyes and a gentle smile. She welcomed me like family and proudly showed me around the house. As I walked through the rooms, I felt excited. This place felt alive. Women were singing in the kitchen. Men were building fires in the living rooms. Dogs and cats wandered freely through the halls. It felt like a happy home. "Come with me now, madam," Martha said. "I'll show you your bedroom. Then we'll bring up your bags so you can wash before dinner." I followed her upstairs. We stopped in front of a large brown door. "This is your room," she said, and slowly opened it.
The moment I looked inside, my body went cold. Standing in front of me was something tall, something dark, something black. I didn't understand what it was. At first, I thought it was an old coat, but there was no one inside it. I jumped backward in fear and moved away from the doorway. "Is something wrong, madam?" Martha asked. No, perhaps it's nothing," I said quickly. "I thought I saw something inside, a big black coat." Martha's face suddenly turned pale. "What is it?" I asked. "Now you look frightened. Something bad is going to happen," she whispered. "When someone sees the black coat in this house, it means terrible news is coming for the Glenn Fallon family." She paused, her hands shaking. "I saw the black coat when I was a child," she continued. "The next morning, old Lord Glenn Fallon was dead." My heart sank. "Something bad will happen now," she said. "I know it." We went downstairs for dinner, but I felt uneasy, afraid, and confused. I said nothing to my husband. I wanted to forget the black coat and feel happy again. The next day, my husband and I went for a walk through the gardens. I wanted to know my new home better. "I like this house," I told him. "I like the people. I'm happy here with you. It's much better than Tyrone." He didn't answer right away. He walked quietly with his head down, deep in thought. Then suddenly, he stopped. He turned toward me, took my hand, and spoke in a serious voice. "Fanny, listen to me. Listen very carefully. There is something I must ask you." His face was pale. "Please, never go into the rooms at the back of the house. Never go into the small garden by the back door. Never, Do you understand me? I nodded, though I didn't understand why. He was different here. He no longer smiled. He no longer laughed. Perhaps the back of the house was dangerous, I thought, but he refused to explain. We walked back to the house in silence. Once again, I tried to forget his warning and tried to be happy. About a month later, I met the other woman for the very first time. It was a beautiful day. After lunch, I decided to go for a walk in the gardens. I ran upstairs to my room to get my hat and coat. When I opened the door, someone was already inside. A woman sat quietly near the fire. She looked to be around 40 years old. She was wearing a black coat. Her face was pale, and when I looked closer, I saw something that made my heart race. Her eyes were white. She was blind. "Madam," I said carefully, "this is my room. There must be a mistake." "My room?" she replied coldly. "A mistake? No, I don't think so. There is no mistake. Where is Lord Glenn Fallon?" she asked. "He's downstairs in the living room," I answered. "But who are you? And why are you in my room?" "Tell Lord Glenn Fallon that I want to see him," was all she said. "I must tell you," I said firmly, "that I am Lady Glenn Fallon, and I want you to leave my room now." Lady Glenn Fallon?" she screamed. "You are not. You are not." Suddenly, she struck my face hard. I cried out for help. Moments later, my husband came running. I rushed past him as he entered the room and stood outside the door, shaking. I listened. I didn't hear every word, but I knew he was furious. I could hear anger in his voice. I could hear sadness in hers. When he finally came out, I asked him, "Who is that woman? Why was she in my bedroom?" He didn't answer. His face was white with fear. "Forget her," he said quietly. But I couldn't forget. Each day, it became harder to talk to my husband. He was always silent now, always sad, always afraid. He would sit for hours staring into the fire, his eyes empty and troubled. I didn't know what haunted him, and he refused to tell me. One morning after breakfast, he suddenly spoke. "I have the answer," he said. "We must leave. We must go to another country. France, Spain, somewhere far away." He didn't wait for my reply. He left the room immediately. I sat there, stunned. Why did we have to leave Kahar Gilla? I didn't understand. And I didn't want to go far from my parents in Tyrone. They were old now. My father was often ill. They had never loved me deeply, but I still wanted to be near them. I thought about it all day. When my husband returned that evening, I said nothing. After dinner, exhausted, I went to bed early. I hoped for sleep, but sleep did not come peacefully. That night, I dreamed of the black coat. Suddenly, I woke up. The room was completely dark, completely silent, but someone was standing at the foot of my bed. A small light appeared in the darkness. Behind that light was the blind woman. In her other hand, she held a knife. I tried to jump out of bed and run to the door, but she moved faster and blocked my way. "If you want to live," she whispered, "do not move." My whole body froze. "Tell me one thing," she said slowly. "Did Lord Glenn Fallon marry you?" "Yes," I answered, my voice shaking. "He married me in front of hundreds of people." "That is very sad," she replied calmly. "Because I don't believe he told you the truth." She stepped closer. "He already has a wife," she said. "Me, I am his wife, not you." I could barely breathe. "You must leave this house tomorrow," she continued. "If you stay, you see this knife? I will kill you with it." Then, without making a sound, she turned and disappeared into the darkness. I did not sleep again that night. When morning came, I told my husband everything, every word. "Who is that blind woman?" I demanded. "She came to me last night. She said she is your wife, that I am not." My husband's face filled with anger. Did you go into the rooms at the back of the house? He shouted. I warned you never to go there. I didn't, I cried. I stayed in my bed all night. She came to me. Please, I begged. Tell me what is happening. He stood silent for a long time, his face pale and frightened. Finally, he spoke. No, he said quietly. She is not my wife, you are. Don't listen to her. She doesn't know what she's saying. Then he turned and left the room. I ran to find Martha. I didn't love this house anymore. My husband had become a stranger. Everything felt dark and wrong. Martha, I cried, who is the blind woman? I need to know the truth. She held my hands gently. Sit down, madam, she said. What I'm about to tell you is not a happy story. The blind woman, the woman in the black coat, she is dead, Martha whispered. You didn't see a living woman. You saw her ghost. She was once married to your husband, Martha continued. She was Lady Glenn Fallon. No one knew exactly how she died. Her bedroom had been at the back of the house. Some people claimed they saw your husband that night, holding a knife, but no one could say for certain what truly happened. When her body was found, the knife was lying on the floor beside her, and her eyes, someone had cut them out after she died. Perhaps the person responsible did not want her to see his other women. Perhaps he did not want her to see his next wife, you. I didn't wait to speak to my husband again. I left Kahar Gilla that very day. I was too terrified to stay even one more minute in that house. I knew the blind woman would return, and next time, she would kill me. I said goodbye to Martha, packed my bags, and ordered my driver to take me back to Tyrone. Now, I live quietly with my mother and father. The house is calm. The nights are peaceful. I sleep well. My parents are kinder to me now than they ever were before. Sometimes my dead sister visits me in my dreams, but I am never afraid. She tells me that the blind woman still searches for me at Kahar Gilla. She is jealous. She wants revenge, but she will never find me. She must wait for the next Lady Glenn Fallon.